What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rome, and this is the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. And for this to be such a good device, why does it feel like it's punching outside of its weight class unnecessarily? Let's get into it. All right, so what I normally do when I get new devices is I do an unboxing, but in the interest of saving time and protecting you guys from the boredom that is this unboxing, because you really don't get anything but the phone and a charger, or the watch and the charger, and so on and so forth, let's skip that, okay? So, all right, so here we are. You got the case, and I just kind of went crazy about the green because I really like this color. So yeah, I went green all out. So I got the Pixel Watch 5 here, the Pixel 11 Pro Fold, and a Google case, an official case from those guys. And I can say that I really like the texture of this case. Really nice, really nice. I don't care if I have a hinge protection on my devices, but hey, it is what it is. And you even get a front cover with this device. So good stuff, really good stuff. I haven't peeled this off yet, and I don't know if I will, because I really don't want to just commit to sticking this case to my device. But maybe I will. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not big on cases, but I just saw that one and I had the free Google Cash or whatever they call it, and I just went ahead and did it. So anyway, before I get into why I feel like Google is punching above their weight class, let's talk about what you get. So my last folding Pixel device was the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and that's just because I was excited to try their new their new design and things like that. But I sold that device very shortly after having it because I just did not feel safe opening and closing that device. It was making some weird noises, and I was seeing a lot of complaints around different people's experience with opening and closing their devices, where it would just give out and things like that. It was just not a great time. This one is different. It feels so much more refined. So much more refined. I don't hear the weird creaking. Now, it's only been a day, but I have opened and closed this device a lot, and it is very quiet outside of the clap when it closes and snap open at the end. Other than that, it's not bad at all. Like, really refined. And the hinge just feels really well designed so far. This thing sit open at any point, so very well designed. The bezels are really thin. It just feels like a really nicely designed phone. I will say that it is kind of odd. I know that you guys probably can't see that on camera, but the front, this left half of the device, or where the front screen is ever so slightly thicker than the right half. It's so, the back half is so weird. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I would love to see a teardown of this device to see why that is the case. But yeah, anyway, you have your speakers there, and they're on opposite sides of the screen, but they are more centered on this device, which I feel like that's the first time I've seen that, where the devices are more centered. Where I feel like if you were going to put them on opposite sides of the device, you probably should go all the way and go one all the way over to the left and one all the way over to the right. But yeah, that's kind of odd. I don't know what that choice was about. But over on the right, Pixel does their own thing with their orientation of their buttons, their layout. The volume rocker is on the bottom, unlike any other device, and the power button is on the top, and fingerprint reader. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of different. But yeah, you have your speakers, nothing on the left, and you have your SIM tray, speakers, mics, so on and so forth. Everything is really nice. This feels like a much better designed device than what I remember the Pixel 9 Pro Fold being. And on the back, you have your cameras, and I would say that this is gonna help with my point later of why it feels like they're punching above their weight class. But just keep in mind that these cameras are pretty much, as far as foldables go, kind of like the smallest on the market right now as far as the sensors. I'll talk about it because it's right here in my face. The HiLight, this thing, I this feels like an afterthought. It feels like something they just kind of dumped onto the device to make it look and give it a little more variation from last year's model. It just feels unnecessary, to be honest with you. It lights up when you're talking to your favorite context that you have listed as your favorites, and when you're talking to Gemini, it lights up. I don't know if they could have done more with this or not, but it just feels like an afterthought, and it's almost useless, to be honest with you. Yeah. But otherwise, the design just feels like it feels like Google. It's really nice. Like the hinge is a fingerprint magnet, but otherwise this texture on the back is not just a fingerprint magnet. I mean, this one is more so on the Vivo. But yeah, I mean, this feels like a really nicely designed phone. So kudos to that. I give credit where credit is due. As far as software goes, what do you get? If you enjoy Google's software, you will enjoy this. This is just Google software on a foldable. It's nice. And you'll see these weird icons I have on here. They are ridiculous, actually. I can't even downplay it. They are ridiculous, but I chose these on purpose. And that was to show off a feature that Google has added in here, where if you go into their wallpaper and style menu, scroll over to your home screen, it changes the menu down below, and you can go in and change your icons. You could do custom icons where you can create some with AI. It is limited. You have a few options here. It's not like you could tell it to create anything. I don't know if it'll ever get there, but for now you have these options. And I chose the disco one because it's just the one that stood out the most to me, and it's the most flashy and ridiculous. And I chose that for a reason, because I wanted to see if it applied that effect to every icon, and it absolutely does. It's actually crazy. And I want to show you the animation that it does when it does it. So let me see. Let me do context. I don't think I popped that on the home screen yet. You see the animation, and then it pops in with the little icon. It's it's so odd. But let me do one more, because it seems like it's actually creating these in real time. So let me do another one that I have. Have I done E-Trade? No, I haven't. Yeah, you see how it does that, and then it applies that theme to it. I think that's pretty cool. And there are a few more customization options here, but there's not a ton here. So if you are big into launchers and things like that, that may be the way to go to give you the customization that you're looking for. Okay. All right. Outside of that, you get your Google goodness, where they have their own version of spam filtering and call filtering, and just all those different features, like now playing on your lock screen when music is playing in the background and things like that. Those things are really, really nice. But when it comes to multitasking, let me open it back up. Let's go into Instagram, drag the bar up. Let's open Threads. This is going to be pretty much the gist of what you can do as far as multitasking on this device. Now you can click that in the middle and do some of that. And you could also manually drag it yourself to put it where you want. And you can open up a third app and a fourth app, but you can only navigate those apps so many at a time. And here's what I mean. So let me go in and open up YouTube. I don't think I opened that yet. If you drag it down to the lower right or to the lower left, it'll give you a little window there where it'll pop in that third app. So that third app still will cover one of the other apps that you have open, but you can add more here. I'm just not necessarily a fan of this method of multitasking. It's not bad. It works fluidly. It's very smooth. But yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan. All right. So coming out of that, here's another point I'm going to make. The tensor chip that they have inside of this device is not the most powerful. So not Zoneless Zen 0. Let me go into, I think it's Neverness to Everness. I think that's what this game is called. I'm going to load this up and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. All right, so we have the game open, and I don't know how well this is showing up on camera for you guys, but just moving around, and it's choppy. You could feel it. You could feel it. And the animations are choppy. And that's due to the tensor chip just not being really good, really powerful when it comes to gaming. You'll see that by default, it sets it to balanced and medium and All the settings are either on medium or low. If I were to crank this up to extreme, you're gonna notice it quite a bit. Let me come back out of here. I had to reverse some settings back or whatever. It just did not like those. And I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna try to do it one more time because I want you guys to see that. I'm gonna, oh yeah, so they're up on extreme. And for me not to even be inside of a battle on this device, and I'm just one character walking around with some animations here, and everything just looks really just poor, just not good. So I'm gonna show you the difference really quick and then we'll move on, okay? And then I'll get to my point that I was making. So this is the Oppo Find N6. I'm gonna go ahead and open up that game. All right, so right immediately, you notice that things look better. Like me moving around, the animations look better, cleaner, smoother. And you'll notice that by default, it has the graphics set to extreme. And I can crank them up a little bit higher and I still would feel like it still would feel pretty smooth with that Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 in there. Like, yeah, this is just better. So the Tensor chip is good at things that it does do. But like gaming, if you're looking for a gaming foldable or anything like that, I just can't recommend the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. Now, getting to my point that I was making earlier in the video in the intro, why does it feel like Google is punching above their weight class? And it really boils down to one thing: price. The battery is not bad on this device. The software is not bad on this device. The cameras even are not bad, even though they feel like they're on the lower to mid-range cameras. Especially, I mean, even when it comes to comparing them to other foldables, these sensors are just comparatively smaller than those others. Even with that being said, let me go into photos real quickly. This is a photo I took of my son yesterday. We were in the car getting some food. I love Pixel's color processing, their color science, whatever they do to their photos, I love it. The moment you step outside of like really bright light and things like that, the photos just kind of, they become just okay. They're okay. And it's just due to the smaller sensors in this device, them punching above their weight class. A few years back, Google realized that Americans equate price to quality and status. And they were proven correct because once they increased the price on here, people were buying Pixels like crazy. You can go back and do it. Go back and look and you'll see that people were buying these things like crazy. So it proved them right. But this price is not justified on this device. It is a solid all-around device. This is a mid-range foldable. This is not a high-end foldable at all. It's just not. It's well designed, but software, the chips, the camera sensors, all that stuff it's not quite high end. You can't really do this is not a powerful device. I mean, by today's standard, that's ridiculous saying it's not powerful when you basically have a computer in your pocket. But yeah, Google is punching above their weight class for no reason. It's not even necessary. They don't have to. They make solid devices. They just don't need to be this price. There's no reason for it to be this price whatsoever. And I have the Pixel Watch, I have the phone, I have cases, I have things like that. I genuinely enjoy their product. I just wish that it wasn't this expensive. They need to go back, kind of back. I know we're in a memory crisis and so on and so forth. I get it. But they need to go back to the old days where they were priced, like Google was pricing their devices really nicely. Like they had a budget-friendly device that was well designed, and somehow they started pricing them like premium devices, and I just want them to get away from that. Okay, but anyway, great device. As far as design goes, no complaints. The only reason I'm complaining is because of the price. That's it. But anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in to this rant. Feel free to like and subscribe, and it goes an incredibly long way to help me continue bringing these devices to you guys. So I really appreciate you, all right? And I'll catch you in the next one. Later.